There's a little song that we sing in our movement down in the South. I don't know if you've heard it, but it has become the theme song. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. Though I've joined hands so often with students and others behind jail bars singing it, we shall overcome. Sometimes we've had tears in our eyes when we joined together to sing it, but we still decided to sing
it. Of course, no one likes having to go to the back of a store to use a colored-only restroom that oftentimes was filthy and unusable for any human being for all intents and purposes.
We were surrounded by white people at the time, and so you lived within your boundaries.
And of course, that's where reality hit.
We couldn't vote. Politics was not the way out. We could not borrow money from the bank or go into business. That was not the way out.
And very insistent that black folks stayed in what they considered to be our place.
And the bus driver said, I'm not moving unless there's some order on this bus. Didn't bother me because I was alone and quiet just looking. He said, there must be an order on this bus. And somebody better read that sign up front. There's a sign above the driver's head that said, the red colored seat from the rear, whites from the front, violators will be punished by law.
No one enjoyed being closed out of what was a society of South Carolinians, because you too were a South Carolinian.
And what I liked about it was a little red brick schoolhouse. It had flowers and tulips and the merry-go-round and the sliding board. It was just a joy to look at the children play there. And I remember my mother turning me left. And I knew turning left meant going up that way toward the school that didn't have the grass and the flowers and the merry-go-round.
The 1960s changed everything. Baseball star Jackie Robinson had been denied access to the downtown airport's white waiting room. 1,000 protesters marched from Springfield Baptist Church to the airport. The message was sent and the floodgates opened. Students from Sterling High School sat down at white lunch counters. They were refused service and then arrested. Students sat down in the all-white library and were arrested. They attended Sunday service at the First Baptist Church and were allowed to stay. The walls were coming down, a brick at a time.
And we got to the library. We got there and they had begun to gather. And the police said, you can't use the library. We said, we want to. You can't. So you have to leave by the count of 3 or you'll be arrested. So you must leave. We said, we're not leaving. You must leave, we're not leaving. So you're going to be arrested. We left. Went back to church. Reverend Hall said, why you back so quickly? They said they were going to arrest us. That's why I sent you to go back. We went back the second time. We were arrested.
Woolworth had 2 lunch counters. They had the white lunch counter up front and the black or the colored lunch counter in the back. That particular lunch counter was located behind the parakeets and the snakes and little green turtles. So that wasn't very nice. So we thought, well, why should we eat behind this? So we would move up front. And again, they would turn the lights out.
I did. Whenever we would get up to the top of the stairs at First Baptist Church, we were immediately turned away. And we would generally leave so as not to create a scene of any kind. But we did the same at Buncombe Street United Methodist Church. Both had stairs that we would climb. And when we would get to the top of the stairs, we would be turned away. And on this particular day, when this gentleman, I think he may have been a head deacon, a trustee, or whatever, turned us away, I raised the question to him, well, how do you know that you are not, in fact, turning away the Son of God? How do you know? Because the Bible teaches us that I was hungry and you fed me not. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink. So how do you know? And he was taken aback. And that next week, I think, when we came, he admitted us.
Why did the youth take leadership as opposed to adults? Adults would lose their jobs. And most people get things on credit even today in the 21st century. So the youth did not have a job, didn't have jobs as a rule. They were not the breadwinners. That is why the youth of this city took on the leadership role. So we prayed in, we tried to swim in down at Cleveland Park, and rather than to let us, because we didn't have a swimming pool, rather than to let us use a swimming pool, they put seals in the swimming pool. When that did not deter us, we went to a skating rink and they would not let us do that. But what the city ended up doing, which is really a sad commentary as I reflect on my activities in the civil rights movement, is that how is hatred taught? What is the behavior that would make people so mean? But they finally sealed over the swimming pool.
These were young men and women, and at 16, they were carrying the burden of their future on their backs. It is a remarkable story, and you can hear it from the people who lived it, as young students at white lunch counters, sitting in the white library, attending the white church, and arrested for disturbing the peace. The story of the Greenville Civil Rights Movement is featured in a special exhibit entitled Protests, Prayers, and Progress, Greenville's Civil Rights Movement, at the Upcountry History Museum from January 18th through June 15th.
So in many ways in the South, we have learned some bad lessons well. We've learned and processed ignorance, fear, hatred, and violence. We must unlearn some bad lessons learned well and choose bridges over walls.
So we have to continue to teach for those of us who were in the movement, who were given the privilege, and I see it as a privilege to serve in the movement, to have participated, to bring down barriers. I see that this is still an exciting time for us. It's still a time for us to teach.
And he made it understand there's nothing wrong with being black. My dad taught me that. Only thing wrong with being black is thinking that there's something wrong with being black. I am blessed. God does not make mistakes. You know, I am where I am because I am who I am, and I was raised, and I am proud to be an African American.